Well, hello there. I'm Duke the Lost Engine. My driver has given me this sort of tape recorder, I guess you would say. Mr. Dreadnought is interviewing engines who have had paranormal experiences, or that's what I've heard. Well, I've got a few stories to tell or not, since I'm alone in my shed here. Well, I guess you all know my story by now. I was number 1 at the Mid Sodor Railway, and served the railway until its closure in 1947. I won't go into details about what happened after that because you probably all know that. That's why I'm called Duke the Lost Engine. There was a few engines on my line, I do remember, other than Stewart and Falcon. Let's see. There was Miney, Atlas, Alfred, Crosney. Man, there was a few engines. There was a few naughty engines too. Stanley, God, I didn't mention his name, and Smudger. But there was this one engine I did met in the Mid Sodor Railway days. An engine that I despised. An engine that I never got along with. An engine who many feared, but I didn't. It happened around 1888, I think. It was this pleasant day. I was the only engine working on my line at that point, when the manager said he was buying a new engine to help me. I was pleased about this. Mind you, Albert did help at times and many of the other engines too, like Jim and Tim. But when that engine arrived, oh boy did he cause trouble. He was this black sort of engine. Like night black. The blackest paint I've ever seen in my life. He had a weird arrangement too. He had a 666 wheel arrangement. Something I've never seen before or since. This engine was a prototype engine, from what I've heard. His name was Exion. God, I didn't mention his name. You know, right off the bat, I could tell something was off about Exion. Right off the bat, I could tell he wasn't a nice engine. His teeth, so sharp. And his eyes. I swear, I've never seen an engine that has red eyes the size of that, but trust me, Exion was that kind of engine. Exion never spoke much. And when he did, he would often grumble or say something wasn't right or whatever. Did I happen to mention that he never smiled? Yep, he never smiled. And it didn't take long for me to find out just how his working style was like. Exion, my mistake, was full-blown reckless. He would push cars off of cliffs and run over animals and people that strayed onto the line. I have never seen such a despicable engine in my life. The manager put him on quarry duties, hoping that his reckless behavior wouldn't hurt passengers. I kinda wish he was sent away right there and then. But we kept him as a quarry engine. But even that didn't work. He caused accident after accident on the railway. Heck, I bet he even had more accidents than Stanley. We wouldn't even go through either 2 days before hearing that some cars were pushed over a cliff. I could easily tell that the other engines who were arriving at this time had feared Exion. He would stare intently into the engines with his blazing red eyes, and give him ultimate terror. Me, however, I didn't agree with him one thing, and I didn't pay attention to him. I hated him. I hated every single life he was. He was this awkward-looking engine who decided it was right to take fear in my own engines. And so one day, I went to him and bluntly said, "You better start adding your behavior, or you'll be sent away in disgrace." Exion didn't take very kind to this, and it turned soon to a full-fledged argument between me and Exion. I won't go into details, but I will say that some not approvable language was used in that argument until the manager broke us up. He did give Ixion one final warning to best up his behavior, but he didn't listen. He kept causing more accidents until one day he left without his crew and crashed into the station. 5 passengers were killed, another 2 were injured. I could tell right there and then, after I had scolded him, the manager had enough of him and put him in the shed, where he really belonged. But this didn't help either. He would stare intently into the engines and would always give him ultimate fear. He never smoked, and he always had this haunting, disgusting look on his face with his sharp teeth. I, on the other hand, ignored him. I even told Smudger about this. I told him to be careful around Ixion. Heck, even Smudger was afraid of him. But I wasn't. I was Duke the Engine. His Grace would not have approved. It soon became apparent that Ixion being in our shed wasn't going to help it. And so our manager put him in a shed very far away from the others. He put him in a shed near a place. I don't even remember what it's called. I think it's called Boulder Quarry, something like that? I don't even know. We hoped that this would be the end of Ixion. Though, it didn't come the way I expected. It came this one night in 1892. It came this one night in 1892. From what I remember, my mind is a bit foggy of the incident, but I was taking a night passenger train when I saw smoke on the horizon. The fire brigade was called, and what we saw was most horrific. There was Ixion's shed up in flames. By the time the fire people got there, it was too late to save Ixion. He was engulfed. But I swear, I did see his horrific red eyes in those mists. His red eyes terrorized everyone except me. And do you know what I did? I stared him right back down. And when the shed collapsed, I felt a sense of relief. That engine who had caused despicable terror was gone. And he was. Ixion was burnt to the ground. Nothing was left of him. From what I've heard, nothing was pretty much left for him to be scrapped. All that was left was just ashes and burnt parts. And so, after that part of the line was closed down, everything went back to normal. Until a year after Ixion's death, I was taking a passenger train down from Valesburg when I was stopped for some reason. My brakes had come on unexpectedly. I don't know why. And then I heard a whistle. A deep whistle. And then I looked ahead. And there he was. Ixion's red eyes looking at me. And I stared him right back down. I knew who it was right there and then. I stared at him for so long. My crew had already left at this point, terrorized at what would possibly happen. And I swear, in that mist, I could see the outline of Ixion. That awkward outline of an engine, if you want to call that an engine. He disappeared with a growl. I didn't pay much attention and went on my way. I didn't experience Ixion ever again, not even when the railway closed in 1947. I didn't tell Falcon and Stewart or even Stanley about him. Why the heck would I? They would just go into constant fear. I had forgotten about Ixion at that point, but there was that one piece back in my mind that's still a memory about him. Then it came to 2014, when Duncan told the story of Ixion. I was a bit confused about this, as I don't remember telling Duncan anything about the story of Ixion. Though he said it was a fake, saying that he didn't know who the engine was nor what he looked like. Duncan should have done a better job with that story. And then, the night after that, Duncan was seen screaming into the sheds, saying that he had seen the eyes of the red engine. Well, we didn't all believe him, but back in my mind, I knew. I believed him. And Bertram, remember he was smudger back then. I remembered him. I remember him fair as day. I still remember that wretched black beast that you want to call an engine. I never liked that engine to begin with. You're probably wondering why an engine like me wouldn't be scared of a ghost with red eyes. Well, if you know my story, I was underground for 20 years. Do you expect me to be afraid of a ghost with red eyes? I've been through much worse than that. I saved an engine from a cliff. Though I was scared of him sometimes. Back in my days, Exion would try to kill me at times. He would purposely put trucks on my line whenever I was pulling a passenger train or a munitions train, hoping that I would be blown to bits. There was one time that he caused a runaway tanker of oil to break away and nearly hit me. I knew this was all an attempt to kill me, and he failed. But it still haunted me. Why would an engine do such a thing? Why would an engine go so far to kill another engine? Try to kill him? I don't know who built Exion. I swear it was the devil himself who did it. I didn't like that engine, and I hope whoever made him knew what he was doing, or else he would have made such a foolish attempt to make an engine that was demonic. Now, personally, I don't really think he was demonic. I think he was screwed up in the boiler, but I don't think he was really that evil. Though I do think that some part of him just went insane. I've never heard of an engine who was insane the moment he was built, but that was an engine that I knew that was full-blown evil. Now, I'm not an engine to create fear in the others, but let me just warn you. If you see some red eyes from Sodor Railway or any Mid Sodor section of the line, be my good guest and just run. There was this time that a man took a group of men up there to see who the red eyes were. They were never seen again. I remember that story very well. Happened in 1930, I think it was. But then it was 1929 when something terrible happened. I had seen red eyes over a section of bridge called the Old Iron Bridge. I went there a few times, sometimes, but not all the time. But when a good friend of mine, Andrew, died on that bridge, I had a strange feeling in my boiler that had something to do with Exion's ghost. To this day, I don't know what Exion's intentions are, or whatever happened to Andrew, but I know he's playing evil, and whoever sees him, you better start running, or else you impudent scallywags will die at the hands of a despicable engine who I had the unfortunate to be meet. I wish I never met that engine in my life. So, I'll end this recording in saying, I'm fearless. I've never been to anything like this anywhere else in my life. But Exion, if you're out there, let me tell you this, boy. Try to take one of my friends. Try to take one of them. And you'll see the outcome of it. And I swear, Exion, it won't be pretty.